I'll call the October 12th, 2022 Greycott Island Township Board meeting to order. First thing is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first order of business is the approval of the September 14th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from September.
Can I wasn't there, can I,
All right, we'll leave it till next month.
oh, okay, we'll put this off till next month. Good thinking.
It was real quick without you.
Well, Dick's not here, so it'll be even quicker.
Yeah.
Could we have the treasurer's report?
Sure can. I'll review the September financial statement. We had beginning balance and checking of $107,427, expenses of $5,494, revenue of $4,447 for an ending balance of $106,380. The investment accounts are a little tough to look at right now. They both declined. So we're sitting at total assets of $526,954. Expenses were up because we had election judges this year, and also cemetery mowing hit. And revenue was up quite a bit because we had a second tower lease hit and our UBS payment. Looking at the bottom now that we're 3/4 of the way through, looks like we're going to be overspent on general purpose for the year. We're right on target for public safety. We'll be making that next payment to St. Paul Park. If that gets approved tonight, we'll basically bring that to zero. And then road and bridge, right on. I'm not sure if there's anything else to come out of that. That's it for that. I also filed the levy form with the county. That's always due end of September.
Okay, thank
So
you.
that's in.
Thank you, Scott. Could I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second it. Motion made and seconded. Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we'll move on to paying the bills. Would you care to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills 139 through 153 for the total of $30,272.55.
Motion's been, I'll second it. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the bills. Any questions on any of these bills?
Well, I have a question, just because I haven't been here for a couple of meetings. Animal control, are we paying that monthly now, or was there some activity?
There is a $40 monthly fee, plus there has been activity.
We hired our contractor
Through,
because St. Paul Park was not going to do it anymore.
oh, they weren't gonna, so who did we hire then?
Yeah, we hired him.
Animal companion, or what was it?
Okay.
Companion animal control.
There you go.
Are they from Washington County, or?
They do a lot of small cities. They're doing St. Paul Park.
Okay.
I think they might be doing Newport.
And so we as residents call the clerk, or call somebody and they call them?
I will call the clerk.
Call
Yeah,
them.
yep. Hearing no other questions, I don't have any questions about it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Reports of committees, meetings, and events. Planning Commission report.
Good afternoon. We met at the Planning Commission last night because Monday was holiday, so and Paul was in attendance. So please keep me honest on any of the comments of going through
I'll try.
the agenda. We had a number of items to discuss, including approval of minutes. We didn't have a quorum last month, so we actually had a couple of those to complete. We had reviewed a building permit application by Mr. Dubey, and he was present, gave some overall context for the addition, which I think is going to be a garage.
Mostly garage, yes.
Mostly garage that he's intending to build. We had no concerns with it. It seemed to be in alignment with any of the ordinances we have. Now that you guys are separated, it's kind of difficult to make eye contact with all. But it seemed to be in full compliance with all our ordinances and future ordinances in the context of where the building is going to be built. We made him aware of some of the intentions we've got with new buildings being completed in due time, although we don't have it in ordinance yet. That's our intention. And then we took a vote to recommend your approval of that building permit application, so that you probably take that action on later on, and he's here to answer any questions that may rise. I trust that you've got the application.
Yep, it's right here.
Copy of it, if you've got any questions on that. Then we actually transitioned the conversation to the review. This is the second time that we've had a gentleman from TKDA. Recall that you commissioned TKDA to provide us with basically a draft of an ordinance of compliance with the Minnesota River Corridor critical area ordinance, if you would. And the gentleman came in to explain any of the salient points of it. Did actually a really good job. We asked him last time for a number of, when we reviewed it, for a number of items to be clarified, including are there any collusions or any areas that our current ordinances would be in conflict with them, and he was able to deconflict any of it. He also provided a summary. I know Cheryl sent that shortly before the meeting, which is quite frankly very useful, because the ordinance, I believe, is about 28 pages. The proposed ordinance, I should say, 28 pages. He was able to summarize it in about a couple, in a way that kind of quickly anybody can read the content of it and understand what is being proposed. He also clarified the timeline that the DNR would like us to put an ordinance in place by around first quarter of next year, and then he asked if we had any questions and or any suggestions for the ordinance modification, to which there were none. I think what we agreed to at the end of the meeting is that he would wait until Tuesday of this week in case there's any feedback from the board. We're not advancing or proposing the ordinance approval at this point because it's not final. That you would review it, and if there's any questions, get it back with him, because he would then run it by DNR. Remember, TKDA is just our agent in this case. They're creating a draft. Once we incorporate any feedback we've got, we're going to give it to the DNR. They're going to say yea or nay with changes. It's going to come back to us in the Planning Commission. We'll see if there's any modifications needed, and we'll bring it for a suggested approval, move it to the public process through a hearing, and then hopefully get it to a final stage that can be incorporated into the township ordinances. This is kind of pragmatically, the entire township is under this ordinance from a sort of physical location, with a couple of different zones that get outlined, and some new regs on what can be done in the shoreline, cleanup, building, distances and so on that need to be abided. It does not seem all that radical. It seems to be relatively straightforward, and we already have some ordinances that speak to it, just with different terms. That's what I got out of reading it a couple of times. So I really would encourage you to take a look at just in this case, the summary document, 2 of them, 4 pages total, relatively straightforward, and then if there's any feedback.
Can you send those, can you send those to Cheryl so she can get them to the board?
I sent them out.
Oh, you did?
Sent them out today.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank-
you've got, you
thank you.
should have them in your inbox, and if we need printouts, I'm sure that she can provide them, but they're relatively easy to follow. Any questions on that before I move on? We did
How
not
much,
take action on this.
Eduardo,
Just
how much consultant time do you think we're gonna need to do this from TKDA? Because that's just the,
That's a good question, I don't know.
they don't, do they give an estimate or not?
I don't, did they provide, I know that
We
you
have a
approved it.
contract and it was budgeted for.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
was
and
hoping
I-
it'd come in lower.
Oh,
Because it wasn't it,
it was like $6,000.
$6,000 or so.
all right, okay.
That's
Thank
what I
you.
recall, I was actually
Okay, that's not too
filing some
bad.
of the documents, and that's what you had approved. We just did not ask him the question on outstanding effort. It
Okay.
looks to me that the majority of the work is done.
Okay,
I mean, what we may ask is for the gentleman is really quite versed on the subject, so at the time that we do a public hearing, that he would actually put it in presentation format, give an overview, and make sure it's precise on the language, so we don't omit anything that the residents would find.
I think that's already included in the contract.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, and I'll take a look at the contract just to review it in case there's not sort of escalating, but I think it was an all-inclusive sort of fee for service type of thing. All right, if there's no questions with that, if you could please review it, again, just Tuesday, if he doesn't hear anything by Tuesday, he's gonna take what he's got to the DNR for comment, come back to the planning commission, we'll see if there's any changes, and then if we have no suggested changes, we'll bring it to you with a recommendation for adoption that then just takes over the process.
He had mentioned like a 60-day period that it may take the DNR. That puts us into the first quarter.
Yeah, and we've asked them the question of what's the deadline, and my first set of notes is that sometime next year, and he tried to time it up to February, I believe. I think he just wants to make sure that this doesn't get deprioritized into Neverland, right?
Yeah,
Because
right.
I think that they understand that the DNR would like the adoption of these ordinances throughout the corridor for their own policy or their own process. So I don't think that there is
I think the official date that the DNR wants it complete by is February 23rd.
Okay.
But he mentioned last night that we could ask for an extension.
Yeah, I think that if we're moving it through in a responsible
Well,
way,
if we have a public hearing scheduled. Okay.
Got it. All right, and if there's any questions on that, let Cheryl know, and then we'll try to bring them or communicate with the gentleman. We then, under old business, we had actually Paul came to talk to us about the emergency mitigation planning. We've got a plan that is in draft form that is not complete. I don't think it ever got adopted. I'm not sure.
No, it did not.
Did not, but it was in good shape as far as it went. We had a discussion about a couple of areas that Paul brought up. One of them associated with our flood planning, which there's no content and there's no section for that. Cheryl reminded us that we've got a couple of pipelines that may or used to have a certain amount of planning and emergency planning associated with it that we may want to include. We talked about it. Paul asked us to take a look at it. Talked about it internally, suggested that one of us in the commission would actually take leadership of doing that. Caleb volunteered. We heard that Ray, actually I talked to Ray about 3 weeks ago. He was the original author to see if he had any interest in completing the document, and he said he would. So I'm gonna try to put those two together, see if we can get a estimate for what it'll take to get it finished, and we'll let you know next meeting.
Okay.
For an estimate on time to completion. And I'm sure it's gonna be a work in progress, because those type of emergency plans just get updated all the time. We're trying to make sure that the 500-year flood doesn't repeat itself,
Yeah,
because Paul has got no faith that it's gonna be another 500 years, right?
I'm 63 and I lived through 2 500-year floods
There you go.
and at least 700 or 800-year floods.
Got it. And that didn't require any movement, so TBD on that. I'm sorry, we'll report back on the mitigation plan and document. Right towards the end of the meeting, we also had community input. Mr. Nesvig brought up complaints about noise. I think you guys have heard that in the past. He actually had a couple of events that wanted to reference basically emphatically requested for the planning commission to make sure that we're prioritizing any ordinance that may bring additional concreteness to our noise mitigation. We've got something in the books, but it's not enforceable. We got a write-up of an event that took place, I forget the day, I think it's September 14th? 17th, there you go. And I've got it in the minutes, I just didn't bring it with. On the noise that was experienced throughout the day, different levels of noise, but certainly not to their liking. Had engaged or went back and forth on, yeah, this is on our docket. We were just deprioritizing it at this point due to the fact that there hadn't been a lot of complaints. And then we'll take it on as we plan to. Just remember that, and it may not be to their liking, but remember that the approach that we were going to follow is to incorporate the pollution control ordinances that define certain dBs and certain, think of it as how much noise for how long, in what kind of, and how often. And that may not satisfy what they're looking for in the level of detail, but that's the direction that we're heading as the planning commission at this point. We'll bring it up to you, and then you'll decide whether or not that is
I think that's a good idea.
So we had that discussion. It was not in the open forum section, but they wanted to provide that input towards the end of it, and wanted to report it to you. Again, it's written up in the minutes. We'll get them to you when they get approved next time. And that is, with that, we wrapped up in about 46 minutes, so another good meeting.
Thank you, Eduardo. I really
You got it.
appreciate it.
You got it?
Then-
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I'd like to say a few words on that subject.
I wish you wouldn't.
Well, I want to.
Fine.
The subject came up, Ordinance been talking 8590 Great Cloud Island Drive. The subject came up because Eduardo asked if there had been problems, and we told him that there were. There was a trumpet player for 2 hours on June 4th, and there was a fiasco wedding party loud and obnoxious on September 17th. The board, I believe in March, was ready to adopt some noise regulations, and then they sent it to the Planning Commission. Since that time, the Planning Commission has either been unwilling or unable to get it done.
Don't say that.
Well, they
It's
haven't.
not
It's been
unwilling.
6 months and they haven't done it. And they are pretty unwilling.
None of them are paid. It's
I
not
got
like a
that.
city
Well,
that
it's been
has,
6 months, and if they can't do it, the board needs to deal with it. One of the problems is, as Eduardo said, they want to try to incorporate the Pollution Control Agency language. The Sheriff's Department and the City of St. Paul Park Police Department have all told us that is unenforceable. We need to have a bright light ordinance like Cottage Grove has, and that's the only way it's going to work. But your attorney has told you the same thing. So I'm asking you now to either have the Planning Commission proceed so we can get some resolution, or act on it yourselves, whatever. I'll submit a proposed ordinance before the next
what I
meeting.
would like you to do is, next time this happens, call me and I'll come over to your house and listen to it.
That's fine, I'll do that.
Because your idea of noise is maybe completely different than my
If I
idea
can hear it,
of
it's
noise.
aggravating, it's too much. And I can't believe you can't hear it. My son lives down the street from you at 8550, and he can hear it.
Well, it travels up the river. He's,
No, he's not on the river, he's on Great Cloud Island Drive.
well,
It's right next north of you. I don't know why you can't hear
I
it.
can't hear it.
I don't know what's going on.
What was
But
that?
I will call you the next time it happens.
I mean, I don't have real good hearing. I can't hear it.
Gordy, what was that first date you had?
What's
What,
that?
what was the first date? You said June what?
June
June
4th. That was a 2-hour trumpet player. And Ted even admits he was there. I don't know what he was thinking.
That was his family festival. That was Ted was there.
Yeah, he said he was there, but he should know better.
Well, that was his party. He was part
It
of
doesn't
it.
matter. You don't play taps out in the middle.
In the middle of the day? I don't know.
You just don't do that. But
I guess we do
this
at our
wasn't in
house.
the middle of the day. It was 4 to 6. But anyway, all right.
Sounds
next
like a good time
it
for a
happens, I'll call
family
you.
to have a festival.
4 to 6, that's within the
Codification of
noise
music.
ordinance.
Huh?
4 to 6 is within the time frame.
What ordinance? We don't have one.
We have, well, when we get the one, that's
There's two-
within
Most of
the,
the cities have 2 time frames. They got from 7 in the morning till 7 at night, and then at from them the rest of the night. And so then it's like Cottage Grove's got, if the cops can hear it 50 feet away after dark from 7 at night till 7 in the morning, or 8, whatever it is, I don't remember the exact time, that's 100 feet, or 50 feet. In the daytime, from 7 in the morning till there, it's 100 feet. But I'm 900 feet, so I'm way beyond what I should be hearing from anybody's house. They, you know, Ted seems to have.
Well, like I said,
his right to do
I'll
what
be
he wants.
happy to come over there and
All
listen
right,
to it.
I'll keep as many.
I don't know if they're gonna have any more
I
events
don't know, it's
this year.
getting late, they usually don't have weddings in the
No.
winter, at least the outdoor kind. You know, other places, they have all their amplified music indoors in Cottage Grove. So, but I'll call you if it happens again.
Yeah, I'd be happy to go listen to it.
Okay, we'll do it, thank you.
Yep.
Paul, if I may.
Yep.
just, comment on that, just sort of the context of what the planning commission has or hasn't done in the, because we work for you, right? That's really it. Ordinances equate to rules, right? Rules and regulations is what we do. It's our little subset of laws that we're applying. And normally you prioritize what you want to set rules around based on need or priority. When this came up, this was all about short-term rentals, and then it evolved into complaints. We decided not to do the short-term rental priority, because quite frankly, there's not a lot of issues with it. There's not a lot of complaints. This is the question that I asked the clerk yesterday and said nothing. So it's not due to a lack of wanting to do something about it, it's just making sure that we're not putting rules and regulations on things that affect one party, but those that affect the community. So I just wanted you to know that in contrast, that is not due to not wanting to deal with it, it's just that, is this what we want to put constraints around? And to emphasize, and I don't think you're gonna like it, the way that noise is defined and regulations around it, and this is the way that Cottage Grove, not necessarily Cottage Grove, but this is the way that St. Paul Park does it, that's why the cops don't do anything about it, is that you define how loud, for how long, and how intense. And it has to meet a certain bandwidth of how loud, how long, and how intense.
Well, we're not gonna be buying
No, in that.
meters.
Correct.
to figure
And-
that
And my understanding is that Ted did, understands it, and modified the activity they do to those parameters. Actually bought like 2 different devices from what I understand. So all I'm saying is that is the, noise is not defined by the litmus test of can you hear it? Is that
I know,
how long,
I know.
how intense, and also the times that are associated with it. So I just wanted you to know that is not due to laziness or not wanting to deal with it, is that the proxy we were using is there are a lot of complaints, but there are a lot of people saying that there's noise issues or not. We still have it on our ongoing agenda, and we'll take a look at it.
Thank you. Moving on, the next planning commission meeting is Monday, November 7th at 6:30 PM. The next town board meeting is Wednesday, November 9th at 7 PM. Any other meetings or events? Hearing none, any unfinished business? Building inspector. Do we have, did we sign a contract with the building inspector?
We have not. I believe you're waiting to hear what St. Paul Park did. They haven't done anything yet. They're hoping to do something this month, but in the meantime, MinSpec has contacted me and they'd like to get a contract going so that it's ready.
I'm okay with doing that.
Okay, I'll get it.
Okay. Next month.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Cheryl. And this, Jerry, will affect your construction. Because the end of the year, Cottage Grove will no longer be doing building inspections for the township. So you may be able to get your footings in. I hope you can. I mean, that would be a big deal. But then Cottage Grove is gonna have to transfer all those documents to the new contractor.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Shouldn't be. Mm-mm.
So if I got the footings in
Cottage Grove would inspect them, yeah. Okay, updating ordinance 59 and codifying ordinance 49. Can you share some of that with me?
Yeah, this is an agenda item from Supervisor Polta, who isn't here this evening, but he would like to update ordinance 49 with the clerk salary that you discussed and agreed upon before, and then also put in language, just a second, Tom, add language around something that had been a concern regarding supervisors who get involved in something that's very time consuming if they want to submit a request for additional pay because of that.
Oh,
To add language that would cover that. And then regarding ordinance 49, he would like to, because it's been revised, it's like on its fourth revision now. Dick would like to rename them so they're easier to reference, such as ordinance 49.0, 49.1, 49.2, 49.3. This is called codifying, and I was told that we need to involve the township attorney to do this, but Dick wanted to set a date in November to have a hearing for these two ordinances. Just to renumber the one and then to update 59 with the clerk's pay and the language.
does this involve the planning commission at all?
They have not reviewed it, no. You could schedule it after their next meeting, after their meeting next month.
Okay,
Dick wanted to get a date set for a hearing.
a date
For a hearing.
after next month's meeting.
Sometime in November.
Well, November's getting pretty busy.
We could do it right after the Board of Canvas. That doesn't normally take too long. That's on the 16th.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, the Board of Canvas is at 6 on the 16th. So I'll make it
6:30?
6:30.
Okay, let's do that. What was that date?
November 16th, I believe it's a Wednesday.
Okay. Any other unfinished business? Did we get some roads patched?
Yeah, all the roads got completed. They finished up today.
Oh, good.
So we will be getting a bill from Pine Bend Paving, Scott. It'll be a little bit over the budget because there's a little bit of work added.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, we're moving on to new business, the settlement agreement with D Kuhlow.
Right. You all saw the settlement agreement that the township attorney drew up with Mr. Kuhlow regarding all the stuff on his property. And that went to the court. The court wants you to vote on it tonight.
Okay,
And Mr. Kuhlow did submit the bond or whatever form of financial it was, line of credit, that will be held in case he does not finish by December, whatever the date is in December, then we will have the money to clean it up.
Okay. I will make a motion to accept the settlement agreement with, drafted by our law firm with D Kuhlow.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the settlement agreement with D Kuhlow. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
They did bring in some bigger equipment over there too, so we're either gonna have more stuff to haul out or he's gonna haul stuff out, one or the
Well,
other.
he's got, he did some damage to the road.
Yep.
I saw that picture. Kinda saw that coming. He must have
Yeah.
pulled something out.
He brought a big front end loader in there now, so I think he's
Oh.
trying to move some of that stuff around, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, we have a building permit application for Jerry Toby, and, I was at the planning commission, and they made recommendations to approve that, so I'll make a motion to approve Jerry Toby's garage, if you wanna see it,
I saw it. Looks like a nice set of plans, yeah.
yeah.
I'll second that.
I'll make a motion to approve that permit.
I'll second that motion, yep.
Motion's made and seconded. Any comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any other new business?
I believe Tom wanted to say something.
I just was going to ask what those ordinances were, but I gathered
Oh.
what they were as you explained it.
Oh, okay.
The ordinance we talked about? Yeah, okay, okay.
Thanks.
And I gave Patty my copies of the shortened version of the, critical area.
Okay.
So she's got a couple copies of that stuff.
I sent her electronic copies today too.
Oh, thank you.
That's a different ordinance.
Anything else? Anybody wants to bring up? Hearing nothing, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Motion passed.